Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is here our 5th edition of Off School Grounds. I am your host, Dennis McKeezy, and I can't tell you how excited I am about today. Already, we haven't even started 5 minutes, and we got 35 principals and APs and a few other people in the room. It don't happen like this often, y'all. And when we do it big. So I appreciate each and every one of you for giving of your time. As Lays pointed out earlier, we got a couple of surprise guests that's going to pop in later on to kind of drive home the points that we're going to be discussing today. But before I get started, is there anybody in the room that want to introduce himself that hasn't been here over the past 4 weeks? Anybody want to shout themselves out, shout their school out?
I'll start with myself.
All right, I hear you.
My name is Raheem Logan. I'm not a principal or AP. Actually, Mr. McKeezy, Dennis, as you all know him as, was my assistant principal at elementary school. So we first connected of him being a Kobe fan, and me and him just like connected like this. And he not only gave us amazing guidance, but he was just a supportive and unconditional sort of source of love. And to get that from a Black man at that age, when you really sort of like those primitive years, it's made me into an amazing person today. So my thing is, I aspire to be on the levels that all of you are respectively in my own way in the future. So I'm here to kind of just be around all this beautiful melanin and all this leadership and this guidance to just listen. So thank you guys for having me.
Much love to you, Raheem. Much love.
Yeah, I'll go next.
Uh-huh.
I'm Otis Kitchen. I'm from Tampa, Florida, and I'm an assistant principal of an elementary school. And my man, Art Cook, invited me. That's my college teammate, basketball from back in the day. I appreciate him inviting me, and I'm looking forward to just this opportunity to be able to collaborate with beautiful, intelligent people. Thank you.
That's what's up.
I'll go next.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I guess I'll go next. My name is Roberta Washington. I am a math department chairperson from Newark, New Jersey, Westside High School. I too was invited to the meeting via Principal Cook in regards to collaborating and meeting up with this group to discuss the matters at hand with this virtual learning reality.
Thank you.
All
right, I guess I'll go next.
I am.
Who has it?
Sorry about that, brother.
All right.
I am Thea Davis, proud principal of Pathways College Preparatory School in St. Albans, Queens.
There you go.
I lead a 6 to 12 secondary school. We are an early college high school. I've been in the room before, but I kind of came in late and hid and covered my mic and my camera, but I'm happy to be here. So thank you for your vision.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so glad to be here. It's my first time here. My name is Christian Pierre. I'm a first year AP at PS 224. I come from St. Albans, Queens. That's right, St. Albans. Principal Hines invited me, and I'm just excited to, engage in an exchange of ideas. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Chris.
I'll
go next.
So,
Chris,
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Desiree Resto. I represent the Bronx. I don't know if you see my shirt.
Yes.
BX all day, every day. Dr. Riley Anissa invited me. I'm very, very excited. It just warms my heart. Just to see you guys, your face. I'm very encouraged, very motivated. I'm very excited to see what this evening has in store. Thank you very much.
All right. So I know we're doing a lot of introductions, and we're gonna continue this all the way till the end.
no doubt.
But Lays and myself got a guest who's just jumped on, and we want to value his time. So, Lays Elliott, I'm gonna give you the honors introducing one of today's guests.
Well, first of all, let me say this to you. This is a man who I admire. He has created some of the best things you've ever seen in your life. He has created new math as it came to entertainment and business. And as we talk about this topic of our discussion today, which is the business of education, I want to introduce, put your hands together for the great, the one and only, Damon Dash.
Dame Dash. What's good, Dame? What's good, Dame? Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you. Thanks for that. I appreciate that.
Man, it's a pleasure to have you, Dame. It's a pleasure. Lazy and I have been talking for a minute about getting you on here, man. It ain't nothing but a pleasure to see you.
I appreciate it. Anything Lazy's doing, I'm down with. I've known him for a long time. I consider my brother, you know, do business, box, golf, the whole nine. So, you know, it's all good. And this is positive, so let's push it forward. I'm with it.
So, Dame, let me get started with a couple of quick questions to you. You know, I got a chance to subscribe to your network. I'm gonna allow you an opportunity to speak about that, but I got a chance to see the segment OG with you and Calvin Klein. Yo, I mean that was definitely a dope session that you had going on there. You want to talk to people a little bit about you know, about your network and basically how you came about and things like that?
Yeah, well, you know, my dream first was to be a mogul, and I knocked that one off pretty, you know, quickly, relatively fast. And but in that experience, what I realized is there's two kinds of businesses. There's the business of controlling us and paying us, and then there's the business of us being aware of our self-worth, having ownership, and what gives us residual income. So when I did the music business, I felt like I had worked too hard and I didn't make enough money. I didn't have enough to show for it. I had a Jay-Z, a Kanye, MOP, 10 years of that, and I still had to hustle. And I was trying to also figure out how I could generate the kind of volume without the compromise of quality of living with my life. So what I learned was residual income, where, you know, I could sit by the pool and something I did 10 years ago can generate a check for me and I don't even have to feel it. And the only thing that gives you that is like, you know, movies and television. And, you know, I did state property and I did Paid in Full. In Paid in Full, the first deal I did wasn't the greatest deal for me, but it got me in the game to learn how to make a really good deal. And the state property deal, I got to make, you know, where I got some good residual income. And moving on, it still gave me good money 10, 13, 15 years later. And I'm thinking to myself, imagine if I would have owned 100% of this and I'm not subject to a corporate skim. And the only way for it to get done for me to own 100% of it is for me to do it with my own money. Because if I take somebody else's money, then I got to bust it down. And they start telling me what to do. So I thought it was important to understand how to make content. And then when the internet came through and I saw like YouTube, I understood that now there's distribution and no one can stop me, because before, if you made some content, you couldn't distribute it. You had to go through somebody to distribute it. But there's a direct-to-consumer relationship that people are enjoying for the last 10 years that made it, nothing could stop me. If I put it out there and they like it, they can buy it. I don't have to go through a middleman. So because I do so many different things, from music to fashion, and I know how to make movies, and I know how to make clothes, it just made sense to me to figure out how to make content, but not like, you know, lifestyle stuff and news, because that gives you no residual income, real scripted content, to do it fast, to do it cheap, and be able to just have everyone subscribe to me. But even after I make the content, I can license it out as well, other places. But that's what you could do when you own something, what you want with it. But people at the end of the day can pay for it, but they got to give it back. So I just started to do all of this different stuff. And around 2009, the actual business kind of went out because we couldn't get the funding, but the building it was in was so interesting that I rented it and I started DD 172. And it was just a place where I would observe creatives and capture them. I had the 5 Ds and no one had them. And I just started to practice. you know? So all of that just evolved into Dame Dash Studios, DDS. Everything I was doing when everyone said I was broke, the evolution of who I am as a person and my point of view, and also as an artist, because I'm a director and also is completely independent. And that's my ultimate dream.
Wait a minute, we got another.
Right.
This is my brother, another brother of mine. This is my man, my brother. I love him to death. He is one of the best play-by-play guys in the history at Black play-by-play, which is, again, as we talk about building Black entrepreneurs, this is amazing. The great Gus Johnson. Put your hands together for Gus Johnson.
What's up, Gus? What's up, Gus?
What up, man? What up, D? Mr. Tibbs. I like that cap you got on, son.
See that? I'm representing your
What's
home.
up, Dave Dash? That's my hero right there. Let me tell you about Dave Dash. I was trying to get to the music industry. I had built a studio, and I went to all these guys, and it was only two dudes that helped me. Lazy Lays and Dave Dash, my main man. I love that guy, man. How you doing, Dave? You all right? You look healthy and strong, bro.
Good, bro. How you doing?
Okay. Okay.
Good. So Dame, so in the room, you got over 90% of the people in this room are principals, right? And one of the things that we've been talking about as of late is about reinventing ourselves, right? Not only reinventing our leadership, but basically evolving into something else. I remember watching you in your last interview on the Breakfast Club when you talked about, or you basically, you know, clarified what you meant in your first one, which was you're not against people working, but you are against people working and not doing something for themselves, not building themselves up as well. So what's happening here, I got a room full of principals who are doing amazing things, but we know eventually everything comes to an end. And I thought that the conversation about now reinventing themselves, adding more to them as people, that I wanted them to hear from a person like yourself who's gone through so many changes. Can you talk to us a little bit about, you know, just the importance of us having something else besides the job?
You know, to me, life without a purpose is not life. It's like death. And, you know, if you're just trying to survive and you're complacent and you don't have anything to fight for, whether it's your children or just something that makes you happy, you know, I just don't see how you can exist. So what I'm understanding about teaching is, number one, at a certain age or at any age, if someone doesn't want to go to class, they're not going. So if an adult goes to school, it's because they want to. But for all other adults, if you tell them that you are teaching them, they think it's cool. And really teach people is through entertaining them. So I try to make sure what I do has entertaining substance in it. But the thing and the question you're asking me is, what I do is, as I evolve, as I learn things, those things inspire me. And that's why I keep doing different things, because I always want to have a purpose. So once I figure one thing out, I want to figure another thing out, and it has to be bigger. So it's not even reinventing, it's just me evolving. 20 years ago now, that doesn't show any evolution, that shows being complacent. And that's not what we're here for. You know, my last name is Dash, and that means life. There's the day you're born, and there's the day you die. And that dash in between is the life. And we're all meant to live. But again, my problem with education is it doesn't teach you how to really live. It teaches you how to be controlled. I don't see the purpose of sitting in a space from the morning when the sun is out to when the sun comes down, to sit behind a desk to prepare you to be an adult and sit behind a desk for 8 hours while the sun is down. It just seems like it's a controlling pattern to me. And it was one that I never subscribed to. And the only way I've ever learned was through living. So when I was in school, I'm like, yo, what is Pi gonna do for me, like, if I don't want to be an engineer? And now that I'm adult, how come they didn't teach me how to pay taxes? How come they not teaching my kids how to code? How come they didn't teach me how to grow food and be sustainable? How come it was never once mentioned to be an independent or how to be an independent entrepreneur? It just teaches you to get a job and go to school. And that's all I was taught in school, which is why I dapped out because I didn't want to be taught to be a soldier. It didn't feel right. So I just feel like within the curriculum, number one, there's different ways to teach people. You can entertain them and teach them. There's different times of the day you can teach people. No one has to be inside while it's hot. And then also, you could teach them stuff that's going to really help them in real life. Like taxes are not even brought up really. You know, farming is never brought up really, other than other people should do it for you. Health, like real health. And then if there was an education that was made by people that were controlling us 60, 70, 100 years ago, how are we still going to use the same education that was taught by people that had slaves? How do we still live by the same laws that were made by people that had slaves? Everything has to start from scratch, because the education I was taught, other than reading and writing and math, made me think I was number two. And the only way to fit in was to be doing what they told us to do. That's what I was taught in school.
Hey, Dame, the great thing about this, though, you're talking to the head of the faucet, because each of these principles.
That's why I'm talking to him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's saying that.
Yeah, exactly. That's beautiful, because this is
like it's like the education that we're taught to teach ain't for us. It's for them to control us.
Absolutely. And you know, Dame, so you know that just like Lays was saying, with the principals in the room, I think why I needed them to hear this, Dame, is because everything that they're getting ready to go back into, because eventually we're getting back into the schools. And so we got to actually start preparing our minds and our curriculum and everything towards what's going to make life better for our kids when we get back. And I know oftentimes people don't want to hear it because traditionally education has been done a certain way. But I'm saying that the people in this room, I know for the most part, have an innovative spirit that I understand. They realize that things have to change. And so what Dame is basically telling y'all is the same thing that I'm trying to tell you all in the past. You got to reinvent yourself. You got to reinvent your schools. You got to reinvent your leadership. You can't do the same thing you did before, because we'll end up paying a heavy price. Our young people right now are hurting because we decided not to bring things into our schools that was going to transform their thinking to what's going to happen 5, 10, 20 years from now. And what Dame has been saying for every video I've ever watched, Dame, he's always said the same thing. He's always saying it's time to boss up. Those of you who I spend time with, you already know, I always tell y'all are boss. Y'all are boss of your school. What are y'all going to do differently to make the changes that we've been talking about? So I definitely thank Dame for bringing that, to driving that point home, is because besides reading and math, my question is, how much do you value the stuff that's being taught in your school the same way?
That there's so many black principals in one place, I just feel like the world needs to know that they're all black principals. You know what I mean?
Go ahead, Jacko.
Question. So, you know, I've had the opportunity to work in Harlem for 5 years. I was an assistant principal. And now currently I'm a principal in downtown District 2. And our parents raise maybe about $1 million a year for the school. I live in Cambridge Heights in Queens. Parents in our communities barely pay $35 for PTA dues. For school leaders that are focusing on instructional, you know, you have your mind on instruction, moving the needle. What can we learn from you? And I'm only saying this because I remember an episode you were talking to your son when he purchased a house, and it was like, you just bought something, and it's like, what were you doing? I think a lot of people might not have that entrepreneurship, that mindset. So how can we get money in ways, and how can we tap into a source like you who would, is there something that we can do to tap into that type of mindset and galvanize parents to know that's really how we can make schools great?
Two things that I think I'm going to do. Number one, the world as it exists is over, right? There's going to be a new world, and education is even going to be approached differently, because people are going to be apprehensive about sending their children to home until there's a vaccine. I'm not sending my kids to school till there's a vaccine. I don't care what the government says, right? So this is also a great time for college. Like I have a daughter that, you know, she's basically in college because her mother wants her in college. The next semester, she's already like, I'm taking that one off because it's going to be safer. So colleges are going to have to figure out how to do what they've been teaching for a long time. They're going to have to turn into entrepreneurs. They're going to have to figure out how to find a different kind of way to make some bread. And I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to adjust. But what I think, to me, and again, this is between you and I, your principals, what taught me about business the most as a child was that I was selling drugs. But the reason why was because it was a business. I had to put my money up, I had to cop, I had to put it on the block, I had to have the same color top every day, I had to brand it, market it, but you know, the difference was you make a mistake, you go to jail or you die. So I learned so much from that that I just applied it to business. My point in that is, I just feel like the next time around, if my child wants to go to college, I'll say for $60,000 a year, I'll give you a business, I'll invest in it. And you'll learn business with that $60,000. And you can keep flipping it. And in between that, that'll be your best lesson. Because it's hard to understand business until you actually do it. There's no school that can tell you. We're taught to create credit, to never put up our own money, to always use someone else's money. And when you use somebody else's money, you're controlled. When you always owe somebody, you always have to have a job to work it off. So what should be taught is how to remain independent, how to know how to fight for something, what sacrifices come with that, how it feels to go through a struggle or a defining moment, because there's no business that happens without struggle. But we're taught to be scared of that kind of confrontation and to play it safe.
Well, if I could add, you know, I'm Principal Williams at a school in Flatbush, Brooklyn, and I have an elementary school, kindergarten through 5th grade. And I definitely believe in the entrepreneurship mindset. You know, I'm a social political person as well, even though, you know, I work for the system, but I still have that belief. And I still believe, like Jacko said, about just embedding that mindset in our children at a very early age. So my elementary school students do create their own businesses. You know, I partner with an organization, Stimulating Minds Through Entrepreneurship and Leadership Opportunities, where my children get to delve into what are they most passionate about. And it doesn't matter what it is, you know, they actually created business plans this year. You know, they raise funds, they pitched their marketing ideas. They went through the whole process with this organization. They opened up banking accounts. They raised money, they saved money, and now, of course, you know, with COVID-19 hitting, we're at the place now with how we're going to disperse their funds. But this is year 2 for me, and I definitely believe that it's so much more than just reading, writing, and math when it comes to educating our children. It is absolutely about creating or helping our children to tap into who they are as individuals, but definitely developing that mindset from a very early age. So it's not what do you want to do when you grow up, but it's who do you want to impact? Who do you want to impact when you grow up? What type of an impact do you want to make on the world?
In order for me to teach somebody how to do something, I have to have done it. So start your own company and go be an entrepreneur and show your class, as I have a job teaching y'all, I'm doing something. And then while you're going through the struggles, the trials and tribulations, then you could tell them, I just took a little bit of my check and put it into my dream. And it's not going so well, but I'm still here at work. I mean, if you're allowed to do that. And then you tell them how to do it. Because the struggles that come with business, you cannot even understand them unless you do business. You couldn't know how to tell someone to avoid them unless you've done business. The anxieties that come from being exposed, the fearlessness that comes with putting up your own bread, it can't be taught. But I know, like, if somebody puts 10 cents up for a glass of lemonade and they sell it, and then they get for 20 cents and go get another couple of glasses of lemonade, they'll understand it from that perspective. You understand what I mean? because that's the only way I understood it. But I know that I only listen to other hustlers. To teach, you got to lead by example.
Dame, I agree, but the point is this, and I think you're making an excellent point in terms of explaining how important it is for people to have experiences that they can then relate and connect with the students and teach them hands-on. But this is where a gap occurs in terms of the type of urgency, in terms of the need of what we're saying that these students have to gain that meaningful education, and the curriculum or content that we have accessible to make that a reality. So although you have principals that's all passionate and doing what they can as leaders to push that mindset into their staff and give that resource to their students, without the curriculum available to make it a consistent implementation, continuity, like consistency is key. So to help your teachers be empowered to deliver that to the students, that's where the content, like you said, your business focuses on creating content and you hone in on music, fashion, and movies. We need education content in terms of fusing that spirit of entrepreneurship to our students, and it means that builds on the assets that's there. Like they do look up to you, to
that is
in your industry.
Now, with that said, and everything you said, my whole network is devoted to just that.
Absolutely.
Every single thing in my network is about the education they don't give us, right? So I have therapy, which they don't teach you about in that curriculum. I have a section called Poppington University where I teach my own school. We have Health is Wealth, where we teach how to cook vegan, all those things. We have the traveling stuff so that you know that there's life going on outside of what's going on here. So exactly what you're saying is the reason why I started our network, because we don't have a platform to teach what we want that's going to help us. So if I was to make some content that was going to help us and I gave it to a traditional education, if the person, if the bigger picture has control, they're not going to let me teach anyone how to farm. You know, when I went to see Farrakhan, you know what he sent for me? Because he said I'm the only one that was talking about farming. And I go out and I see him. He taught me about GMO, seeds. He taught me about compound, everything.
You know, listen, so I think what's important for people to understand is what Dame has been doing, and he's not one who's basically boasting about it. He's been doing the things that we've been trying to do. LA Sunshine, introduce our next guest, who's in the room with us too.
Yeah, and I thought it was important to just have somebody of his ilk to come along. So I would just like to introduce my brother from another mother, the one and only, the greatest entertainer.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's always, yes, man.
Good to see you. Hey,
good to see you too, brother.
It's good to see that you and Dame from Harlem is in the house. So definitely, I'm glad you jumped in when you did.
You know I love my man Dame, B. That's my man. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. That's my man right there. You're gonna get 100%. That's all you're gonna get from him. Whether you agree or disagree, Harlem all the way. Yeah, man, I was talking about you the other day. I said, boy, that's my man there. I said, you put the heat on him on that show I heard. I said, you put the pressure on him. They gonna either come right or don't come at all.
It bust pipes, Dougie.
Hey, look, that's what it's all about.
I appreciate that. My issue is that we're programmed to fight each other, but we don't fight them. So
that's right.
I'm a lot of different kinds of people that I know, from white, black, shooters, whatever. I was like, you know what makes me crazy? A little different is because I call out black people, but I call out white people by name, right?
Right.
I said, look, name a black man, another black man that does that. Most people couldn't. Then I said, name a black man that calls another black man out by name. That list is way too long. We fight each other all the time and we never fight them. That's a pattern. That's a control that they have on us. We think that we can't touch them. I asked a shooter I know, I said, yo, you've shot at a lot of people. You ever shot at anybody white? No. Why not? Why not? You're not scared to go to jail and have to be in a cage, but you're scared to even question what a white man says. That's programming.
That's right. I want to first say it's an N that popped up on my screen, so I don't know if y'all are seeing me or hearing me. So I'm gonna wait. Okay. Well, I wanted to first say that I wanted to thank LA Sunshine for having me involved with this. You know, LA, I love him to death. That's my brother. I learned from him, you know, and that's one of the things that we don't like to do. We don't like to show love and appreciation for each other. We sometimes have the tendency to want to get all the credit and all the things, and we want to be the one who have, you know, it was me. No, it's never you. It's a collective effort that makes up you. And if you're lucky, you know, to live, you'll be able to acknowledge the people that came before you, to show some appreciation for all that they went through. And let me tell you, Dame, the reason why a lot of people have issues with some of the perspectives that you come from is because you're a free Black man. And a free Black man talks differently than a Black man that is not free. And I don't mean free from the perspective of we're not able to walk around. Some of us are not free, some of us are incarcerated, but even though they're incarcerated, they're still free mentally because they understand the game. Now, this is not an attack on white people, but we're gonna be honest about it, is that, you know, there's systems that are created and they set up systems. And this country is set up in systems, and sometimes based on slavery and based on it going down from one generation to the next generation. There's this thing that's happening like right now with COVID-19. Everybody is being controlled by fear. Some of us are more fearless than others. Dame, you've always been the kind of guy to me, and you know, I keep it 100 with you, is that you would say what you really feel and what's on your mind. A lot of people don't have that ability to do that. A lot of us are afraid because, you know, some people don't want to lose a check. Some people are tied to other people, and those other people are manipulating them, and they're a puppet, you know, and they could be financially rich, but spiritually they bankrupt. So there's a lot of that going on right there. So sometimes when you talk, see, you play the game at such a high level that you've seen all the manipulation from the top all the way down. So sometimes, in my opinion, what I would say to you, my brother, and this is with love, is that it's like you're trying to give a college education to a kindergarten class. And sometimes you gotta dumb it down a little bit because they can't see it. And their emotions is attached to it. And psychologically, they don't even understand they are in a trap. So you gotta sometimes, in my opinion, it's just my opinion of you, is sometimes you have to, you know, dumb it down and don't expect them to be where you're at as fast as you are, because it took you time to get there. But imagine how long it's going to take them time to get there, because they don't even know that they're not even there.
Dougie, let me jump in real quick and say this.
Yes, sir.
You know, what you got in the room here, again, is well over 90% of principals throughout the country in this room right now. And in terms of what it is that they could do almost immediately to begin to implement the stuff that you and Dame are talking, and LA's talking, and that LA's are talking. We got to be able to start to talk about it in a way that is universally understood by everybody, which is right now, you got right now something that you haven't seen before. Most people have never seen this before. To have this many principals in one room, and this ain't. And
it's an honor to be in the room with these principals.
And you know what? And see, and Doug and Dame, this is what I want for you. This is part of the reason why I bring you guys on, is because this right here is the front line. This right here is what makes schools great. And I think when you look around you, again, you can scroll. There's over 60 of them in here. 60 in one room.
Powerful.
And so what I want y'all to do is to be able to say, like, listen, yo guys, y'all are doing a fantastic job. Keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing. Here's what I want you to do next. Here's what I want you to bring to your school by way of curricular changes. Here's the things I want you to bring to your school. So that's what I want to ask you guys to kind of chime in and talk to them about, because I want them to walk out of here fed about what is it that they can do almost immediately to change some of the stuff that's happening in their schools.
Well, let me end on this piece and then pass it on. And it's a very short piece because I don't want to take up the floor. But I want to first start and say that I want to say love and respect, and I appreciate the principals that are on this line. And I know some of them don't know. And I know some of them are playing a game within a system where their hands are tied. So I understand that as well, because when I was coming up in school, my principal, who was a Black principal, it was a man, he was the reason why I graduated. Me, Teddy Riley, and Chilwell was in the same school. We all got kicked out of King, and then we went over to Park East. And when we went to Park East, this principal wouldn't allow me to not graduate because I was in the 12th grade. My career took off. Beat Street came out. The show was coming out, Lottie Dottie, and everything looked like I should leave school. He said, nah, he let me take the work with me, and he worked with me. So I understand sometimes that with these principals, their hands are tied. But I also know that it's a collective effort. So if some of the information that I'm able to share with these principals can help them in their curriculum and making sure that, you know, they add a little bit of this or a little bit of that, or life skills, which is what Dame talks a lot about and I talk about, because, you know, it's good to learn the curriculum, but it's a very important thing to learn the life skills, because as you see, after this COVID-19, people are going to be trying to figure out how to survive.
I believe that Lays knows my business model, right? It was a little like Muhammad Ali's. It's to be disruptive and deliver. And I know that Lays would never put me on a call with a bunch of people that are principals that would be sensitive. And I know y'all not. Y'all not here for me to sugarcoat shit, right?
No.
Well, I won't. So my thing is, I like to come with solutions. Now, what Dougie was saying about me being abrasive, and maybe I need to dumb it down, Dougie, I want you to go to Dame Dash Studios, and I want you to look at all the programming about therapy, about taking care of your woman, about taking care of your children, about music, real music, about entrepreneurship. So, you know, I'm the guy that's gonna shake you up only because I'm doing it. And I've chosen to be this disruptive because I think the people that are hurting us should be exposed. Not the old-fashioned way of hurting them physically, because that's an unevolved way of hurting them. Just like the war we're up against is a very evolved war. It's not a physical one, it's mental, and it's messing with our health. So what I'm seeing is when we go to school, we giving milk and we're giving everything that's killing us, right? Everything that's making it where even the lunch, where when something like this happens, we're the first to go. I feel like it's where they've been fattening us up to kill us. And these are the reasons why I'm speaking to y'all about trying to figure out how to get a solution to having your hands tied.
Yeah, let me jump in, and I feel obligated to jump in because you got Harlem in today, and you know I rep Harlem all day, every day. What's up, Dougie? What's up, Dame?
How you, brother?
We've crossed paths many a times because I spent my life in Harlem. And I agree with everything you said. I want to resonate with Dougie said. You know, this is not about being a principal. A principal just gives us the position and the accessibility to either exercise our, and it's also not about being Black, because being Black is one thing, being Black and conscious is another, right? Being Black and being a free man is another. So I definitely want to resonate with Dougie said, because everything that they mentioned, I'm already doing, right? And so this really isn't about schools or curriculums. It's about standing up and being leaders and it's not, you can't just have the position. You gotta be a leader and you gotta lead. So where the curriculum is not what you need it to be, make it what you need it to be. Where people are saying you can't do this, turn a blind ear to it, because you can do it if you got the courage to do it. I don't play by anybody's rules, right? I come and I fight every day because I'm doing what I do because I love the kids. And I do it for children, I do it for families, I do it for community. Me being a principal just gives me some extra tools, and it gives me some extra keys to open doors I wouldn't be able to open. But this is not just about being a principal. It's about really, if you're conscious, letting your consciousness guide the work and being a leader.
You are the type of people that are the people that I believe the community should be looking at as the celebrities and stars, which is why I was like, are we taping this? Because this is what needs to go on the platform. that there are Black people that are at certain positions that really get together and try to talk about how to make things better. And these are the people that should be celebrated.
Thank you. I know the topic today was how do you reinvent yourself, and I hear what you're saying. So thank you so much. So what I propose to put on the table is, I'm sure just like me, there are several colleagues of mine in this room who have been doing the work for a long time and are wondering how to move to the next step. I've been a principal for elementary school for 14 years, and I know the next step is right around the corner. And my goal and my desire is to continue to help the next batch of principals or leaders come up to take everything that I've learned and make it happen. So knowing I have a wide range of skills, but then listening to what you're saying, Dame and Dougie, how do we get to sit and listen and learn from you so that way you can pull me up and then I can become another extension and then I can pull other people up. So you pull me up, I pull others up. Like you said, you know, not really being taught how to do business, you got to be in it in order to really learn it.
This is the first thing I'm going to do, right? Because I believe the most important thing right now is health, is getting us healthy, right? And also learning how to do business. Yeah. So really, I can put the CEO of my insulin to talk to y'all and the CEO of One Drop, an entrepreneur, both of them that do my blood tester, and they can teach you how to talk to your students about avoiding becoming diabetic because it's inevitable. And then also they can tell you about the business of it so you could also know that. And also I can make programming for you that because they might look, I could put cool music behind it, but still have the right people talking the right things.
And the bottom line is that's what we need. All you principals need that consistency, because there is consistency in the Black community and leaders that can help lead us to a better position than we are today. And y'all are faucet. Y'all at the head of the faucet. That's why this is so important.
So this is what I wanted to share with you, because Dame brought up a lot of points, and the points that he brought up and the points that everybody's bringing up is really, really important. And the sister that was on the line that was talking, I wanted to address that situation because she wanted to know how this is going to happen. And Dame acted in like the moment and immediate. He said, I'm gonna put this one with that one and do this and do that. That is how you're supposed to handle something. And sometimes we have the tendency to put each other off. We have the tendency to not communicate. And I think that that's a big problem with us. And I think that sometimes, once again, like when I was saying about the message, sometimes when the message is given in a particular way, a person can't hear it. See, that's why there's a separation in the music, because it's based on frequency. You hear a song that comes from your generation, you can relate to it. A newer generation, you listen to it, you can't handle it because you're not even vibrating at that frequency. So sometimes frequencies changes the way that a person can accept information. So for example, I'm feeling like this conversation that we're having goes back to a certain point like this. There's two forms of knowledge that you gain in life to me. One is significance, which is book knowledge, and the other one is practical knowledge. If I was in Harlem and I needed a cab, and it was a guy who had a driver's license, but he didn't know nowhere around Harlem. And then there was another guy who don't have a driver's license, but he been driving in the street all day long, and he knows the corners, the back streets and everything. And I can get in one cab. I'll get into the cab with the guy who don't have that driver's license, because I know he's gonna get me where I need to go. Now, what we want in life is a combination of both, because education plus practical knowledge is what makes you more superior. Now, some of us have more practical knowledge than education. So when we're talking about education, we have to understand that it's a whole complete puzzle.
I would like you principals to talk about what you want to change in the school system if you could. And I'd like to put you in front of a senator. I'd like to put you in front of a congressman. I'd like to put you in front of some bishops. I'd like to put you in front of people that can actually make things happen. And when they know that people are coming together like a gang, it scares people into doing the right thing. You feel what I'm saying?
I don't think people quite understand the magnitude of somebody being able to say, I'll take this, that what you guys are doing, and I'll put it out there for the world to see. Like, I think we ran over that. I think we didn't understand.
I agree.
Like, this
well, I want to say,
about,
when he rolls, I'm rolling with him.
No doubt. Listen.
I'm a roll with him.
This ain't about me. This was, when I created this, this was for us. And the fact that you got a Dame Dash, a Dougie Fresh, who's willing to say, listen, what y'all are doing, we love it. What y'all are doing, we'll shop this. What y'all are doing, I'll put it out there. Forget everything else that you may have heard and didn't and might have ignored. The fact that Dame said that is something that I don't hear enough of us nodding our heads to, because he didn't have to do it. He didn't have to.
I put it in the chat. I said I love that idea because I'm definitely I'm passionate. I'm a fearless, passionate advocate for children. So I was definitely up on it the moment he said it, and I wrote it in the chat because that's exactly what has to happen. You know, oftentimes I say this a lot about us as a people, right? Because we all Black folks here. You know, never mind which island we got dropped off on, right? As Black people, we oftentimes, we know how to come together to fight each other, you know, to curse one another out, to bring each other down. But when we harness the power that we possess, the knowledge that we have with the experiences and everything together, and we channel that energy to advocate for ourselves, we're unstoppable.
And so listen, y'all, again, I can't, I mean, we can obviously talk all day and all night because of the amazing people that are in this room. And I'm definitely talking about, you know, the principles as Dame and Dougie talked about, was that you guys are the real celebrities. You guys are the ones who are doing the major work. And, you know, as we try to wrap up here, I just want people again to understand that 5 weeks ago, when we came together the first time, we came together as principals looking for an opportunity to engage in conversation and to discuss topics that I think are relevant in our lives. And just like every classroom you go visit, every teacher, some people ain't gonna get it yet, and that's understandable. Some people ain't gonna get what kind of blessing this truly was today, to have the type of people we have in this room. And look, I'm not one to sit here and talk about what didn't work or what didn't happen. I'm just telling you the way Dame, the way Dougie, the way everybody came, the principals, everybody came together. It came together the way it was supposed to happen. I could tell you right now, if I could show you, I always have a list of things that I'm going to talk about. But when I see it go a certain way, I let it flow. I let it flow. And today was one of those days. And understand, every week ain't gonna be like this. Every week ain't gonna be like this in terms of us having this kind of intense conversation. But what needed to be said today was said. And at the end of the day, what you heard a man say that no other person has ever said to any one of us in this room is that we'll take what y'all got and I'll put it on my platform. That's how dope we are. That's how dope everything that we say and what we do is all about. But again, let me wrap up by again thanking Dame, thanking Dougie, thanking all the principals for coming through. This really is one of those intense conversations that unfortunately I don't want us to glass over as if it wasn't a dope experience. I do say that, Dame, I thank you. I thank you for extending that opportunity for this to reach your platform. I thank you for giving us the opportunity to engage you in conversation. Dougie, same thing. Thank you for allowing us to engage you in conversation. Thank you for engage us in conversation.
And I want to say this, my brother Dennis, thank you for having me on here. I am honored, and I feel blessed to be able to talk to all of these principals and to be on here with my beautiful brother Dame Dash, man, who I really have a lot of love for, because I understand him so well. And the other person that I want to thank is LA Sunshine, who is my brother and one of my teachers. And, you know, I love the man to the bone. And I'm not afraid to express love to a man, because love is a demonstrative word that's proven through an action. And his actions demonstrate love. And it's the only force that I think in this world that stops us from hurting each other in the way that I see us do. And so I want to close this out on my end by saying that these are the takeaways I'd like you to walk away with from me. Number one is your health. Your health is important to all the principals and everybody on here, because you can get diabetes and high blood pressure and heart problems because of the level of stress that you're dealing with. Now, let me tell you something about stress. 80 to 85% of all sicknesses come from stress. You can look it up if you don't believe me, because y'all principals, y'all will probably look it up. And this is the very interesting part of it, though. Over 70 to 73% of all of the things that you're stressing about never even happen. So sometimes psychologically, what we do to ourselves is we put ourselves in these positions that make us take certain actions because of stress, which creates sickness. So I always say health is wealth, and you get wealth from your health. You can be the wealthiest person in the world and the unhealthiest person in the world, and you will not be happy. So the key is for you to try to take care of yourself so that you could take care of other people. That's my personal opinion, since y'all are in the front runners. The second thing I like to say is that when Dame is ready to go and make a move and y'all are tying in and the communication continues, as we all can communicate, in LA, you let me know. I have a lot of friends myself, and I think that we could tie this in together. And as he said so eloquently, that a gang definitely makes things different. It makes people react differently. So I think the communication has to happen, because we come up with great ideas, but we don't follow through. And I think that that's one of the problems that we have right now in the world. The last thing I like to say to you is this, is that this thing about each other with our women and us as men, I think that we have to always, and I love what Lay said, and I got to acknowledge him on there when he apologized, because we have to have respect for one another in a way that we think about it. I always say respect is a funny word. Re means again, spec means to look at. So you're looking at it more than once. So before you do something, just think about it more than one time. Have a little respect, and if we have respect that flows back and forth, we'll be better off. We won't have to fight and get caught up in things that send us off on a wild goose chase, and we miss the whole point of why we got together. And so I just want to tell you that I appreciate y'all, man, and I got a thing to help y'all principals right now at this moment. It's called Hip Hop Public Health. I want you to look it up. I did curriculum. I've been to I've taught hundreds of thousands of kids throughout the whole New York City area. We taught them about obesity, childhood obesity, seeing symptoms of strokes, diabetes, high blood pressure. I have had kids use this information and save the lives of their grandmothers and grandfathers. So if you have some time, I would recommend you to just take a little look at it. Me and a brother, a doctor, got together, and we did this 10 years ago. And we wanted to take hip hop and health and combine them to kind of bring it into our communities, so that a lot of the younger people can have this in their mind about exercising, and instead of going and getting a Kool-Aid, they'll go and get a fresh orange or something like that. Better food choices. So I think if we feel better, we act better. We look better, we think better, we better. You understand? So, and I just tell you, man, I appreciate y'all, and thank you. And LA, this is full circle, because Dame Dash, I think probably several years ago,
you don't even know
called me. Yo, I'm gonna tell y'all this quick little story, and then I'm gonna shut up. Several years ago, Dame Dash called me and said, I'm doing this movie called Paid in Full. Yeah. He said, look, I'm doing this. I'm doing it on my own. He was doing it on his own back then. He said, Doug, I want you to come and do this for me. I mean, he was in the back of the Apollo showing me about the iPod and all this. He had mad things going on. So after I said, okay, long story short, I said, you know what? Man, Dame called me and asked me to do this thing. I'm going to do it. He said, yo, this ain't a big payday, but I'm telling you, this is a story of Alphorn Rich, and I want you to be in it because we're going to reinvent the rooftop and do it. Long story short, I went up there and I said, damn, I need somebody to introduce me. So I told L.A. Sunshine to come with me, to come up there and introduce me. And Dame seen him and said, oh, that's L.A. Sunshine? Oh, hell yeah, let him introduce you. So then after, what happened is this whole thing turned around that the movie came out. Everybody Paid in Full is a street classic. It's a classic. It's one of the movies that if you go in the Black House hole, right, it's in that house, all right? So now, this is the part that Dame may not know. And this is for you, Dame, because I want you to have this. This is very important. When that movie came out, Cameron was sleeping with the girl, and he was doing the Dougie. So there was a little kid from Dallas named Little Will who made a song called My Dougie. So when he made My Dougie, he got that off of the movie Paid in Full. And when he did it, then he called me up and he said, Doug, can you be in this video? Because we're going to do your dance in the video. So I went out there, long story short, came back to Harlem, and some people from LA went to Dallas and seen the video. And then they made the song Teach Me How to Dougie. So after they made Teach Me How to Dougie, they doing the dance. After all of this is over, I get a call from these kids saying, we in Harlem and we coming up to the Rucker. Are you the real Dougie Fresh? I said, yes, I am. They said, could we come and meet you? So I said, yeah. So I brought them to my house. And they was in there showing me how they dance, and I'm Harlem all the way. So I'm looking at them, I'm like critiquing them. And I said, no, you put this in there. You go like this. And so after it was over, we went up there. They performed at the Rucker. And then later on, I performed with them on BET. And then after that, Michelle Obama did the Dougie. Wolf Blitzer did the Dougie. Beyonce did the Dougie. And it all started from this one seed of Dame calling me up and me embracing my brother, and it transformed my entire career and the world. And that is the way this conversation is going to do for you if you just follow through.
Well, you're the OG legend. You made the best hip hop record of all time to this day. And I don't even know how that would feel to do that. You know what I mean? And shit, so that means you're like hip hop God. You feel what I'm saying? Forever. So just any kind of like talking to you on any level or an acknowledgement is a stat for me. And we can continue it and evolve it. But if you're all about that action, I take pride in nobody out hustling me. So I'm challenging 60 principals to challenge me. That's what I want to see. An intelligent fight, a cool one, and I'm down because I like that action. I've chosen to be exactly what Dougie Fresh has said that I am and embrace it unapologetically. But I just need him to know when you get a W, regardless, someone's going to lose. They're going to hate you. They even have to give me my respect in my face. It doesn't matter. You understand what I mean? And you look who's behind me. That's my spirit. I've been made into an honorary Black Panther by Jamal Joseph. And
that's what I'm talking about.
Always for my culture, even though I don't have to, but I really do. And I think y'all are doing it, and y'all should be able to smell your roses. See, a lot of people shoot the deliverer, and y'all are going to be the representation of a lot of things that people are upset about, and they're going to be blaming you for stuff that you have no control over, and you're like, damn, I'm just trying to fix it. I'm that same guy. Trust me. I know exactly what that feels like. Embrace it. Embrace it. Be unapologetic about it. Be fearless about it. And teach everyone around you not to be scared, to be conscious and to prepare. But don't let fear control an action, but lead by example.
So listen, y'all, again, I don't want to hold you any longer. Yo, listen, continue to share information in the chat with one another. Again, my information is dennis@inourbestinterestllc.com. You can also see me on Instagram, In Our Best Interest LLC, Facebook, In Our Best Interest LLC. All I'm asking you to do is to just continue to support what we're doing. And I promise you, the moment Dame does what he does, I promise to put it up on my joint as well. So thanks again, Dame. Thanks, Dougie. Thanks all y'all.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Much love to all of y'all and your family. Stay safe. Stay safe.
Take us out there, Lazo.
All right, y'all.
It makes